We're your teacher friends.
Hi, it's Lydia with my very special teacher friend here today for this math lesson.
Hi, it's Heather. I think you can recognise me. I'm just getting into the mood for today's maths class where we'll be heading into space. And we're going to be looking at time because by measuring time, we're able to compare different things happening on different planets in our solar system. So we've got a few different activities that you can do with this today, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about space along the way too. Lots of numbers out there in space for us to use.
Absolutely. And these are the materials you'll need for the activity. So as you can tell, in the document, there's a data sheet provided. What we've done is just to make it pretty by printing the same numbers onto little cards with pictures of planets on them. So the idea of this activity is to get all these different time units and to arrange them in order of increasing value. But these two sets of numbers represent two different concepts of movement. So in space, nothing is stationary. There's always some form of spinning movement. Now the first spinning movement is that of rotation. Yeah? Heather, could you show me a rotation?
Oh, I'd love to.
So this is one form of rotation. If you could show this to your students, this is how they'll remember what the rotation is and make them say it. Rotation gives us day and night. Another type of spinning motion that takes place in the solar system is that of an orbit. Yeah, it's that of an orbit. See what it does to Heather? So this is what we use to help students remember what an orbit is. And the result of an orbit, the outcome of an orbit is 1 year. So 1 year is the time it takes for a planet to orbit the sun, to go around the sun. So that's a rotation that gives us day and night. And this is an orbit that gives us 1 year. So these numbers here in red are my rotational times. Heather, can you show me what a rotational time, the sign for a rotational time is? That's it. And the numbers here in green, these are the orbital times. So it gives us the length of a year.
The whole year.
Okay.
Yep, on my
so
side.
Heather and I are going to be arranging this in order of increasing value. Shall we do that?
Yes.
Thank you. So why don't you do that one while I do this? What do you think? Or should we do it together? So I've got different values, different units here. I've got
lots of days on mine.
I've got Jupiter with a rotational time of 9 hours and 55 minutes. Followed by Saturn, 10 hours. Followed by Neptune at 16 hours.
60,000.
60,000 what days? Wow. 23, 24. Uranus goes at 17 hours. There we go. This is what we've got. So by arranging these planets in order of increasing value, we're able to actually uncover patterns. And that's the whole beauty of numbers. By understanding numbers and uncovering them, it goes beyond a math activity of just arranging things according to value. What it does is it helps us uncover things about life in the solar system. So let's see what's one thing that has occurred to you. Heather?
Yeah, so I had the orbit time, the time it takes for the planet to travel on its path around the sun. And I can see, if I read them out on mine, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. I've got them in order from the sun heading out.
Well, that makes sense. Because the further away they are from the sun, the longer it'll take them to orbit the sun. All right.
So I think students might be able to pick up on that one easily.
And I found one observation that I've picked up is that Earth takes about 24 hours to make one complete rotation. That's 1 day and 1 night, one complete rotation. And that's similar to that of Mars. So Earth's rotational time is similar to that of Mars. And so if we were to live on Mars, we'd have very similar experience of day and night. That'd be interesting. Is there anything else you've discovered?
Lovely. Well, I'm interested in looking at yours and thinking about where the longest day is.
You know, the longest day and the shortest day, let's pick them both out.
Sure.
So Venus is the second planet from the sun, and it turns out that Venus has got a day length of 243 days. that's equivalent to 8 months. So that's equivalent to 4 months of daytime and 4 months of nighttime. That's a pretty long time to sleep and a pretty long time to be attending school if you were living on Venus. But on Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system.
Oh, much faster, 9 hours and 55 minutes.
So that's equivalent to 5 hours of daytime and 5 hours of nighttime. Wow. Let's think about this. If we spend a quarter of our waking hours at school, which is equivalent to about 6 hours at school, we'd be spending a quarter of that at school in Jupiter. So you'd only be spending 2.5 hours of school on Jupiter.
Oh, that sounds all right.
And about 2 months of the length of time you'd be spending in your classroom teaching your students is 2 months.
So I was looking at years and you were looking at days. Are there any planets that take longer to rotate, to have a whole day, than they do to go for their year the whole way around the sun?
I believe we have a contender for that. We have 2. So Mercury takes 176 days
to rotate. But a year on Mercury is only 88 days.
Wow. So you'd be almost celebrating 2 New Year's days before the day is over. Before one day is over.
Sounds very confusing.
It is. It is. And Venus has a day that is 243 days long, but it takes only 225 days to orbit around the sun. Oh, maybe one last observation here is this. If we have a birthday every 365 days.
Yes.
If we celebrate our birthdays
on Earth
every 365 days, are there other planets in which our birthdays will be celebrated a little bit differently?
Are you trying to think about a planet you could go to where you'd be younger?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Or that we would be the same age? Oh, there's so many good questions coming out of the years and the days here, and I think the kids will probably have some good questions too.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, the beauty of this activity is not just in the ordering of these numbers, it is looking at these numbers and finding out what they can tell us about what life is like on these different planets. So I hope you enjoy this lesson with your kids.
Head into space.